Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and look at how your body adapts to changes in your environment faster than literally any smart device. I mean, think about your smartphone for a second. When you step outside into the glaring sun, the screen automatically adjusts its brightness, right? Well, your body has been doing something way more sophisticated for millions of years. Did you know your eyes actually have an automatic dimmer switch built right into them? Seriously, it's true. This built-in biological mechanism is called the pupil reflex, and it's absolutely crucial for protecting your vision and just helping you navigate the world. Now, if you're studying for your O-level biology exams, understanding this exact mechanism is, well, it's a real game changer. It's fascinating for sure, but it's also a highly tested topic. So mastering it today is going to earn you some incredibly valuable marks. So here's our game plan. 1. The anatomy of the iris. 2. The bright light reflex action. 3. The dim light reflex action. 4. Common biology misconceptions. And 5. A final review with some exam tips. All right, Section 1. Anatomy of the iris. Before we get into the actual muscles, let's define our core concept here. The pupil reflex is an involuntary response that controls the exact amount of light entering your eye. And notice it has two very distinct purposes: protecting the retina from damage and optimizing your vision depending on the lighting. So it's basically both a shield and a lens enhancer, running entirely on autopilot. Now let's really zoom in on the iris, the colored ring of your eye. If we look right past the surface, we can map out two specific sets of muscles hidden inside: the circular muscles and the radial muscles. Notice how perfectly structured they are to physically manipulate that dark, empty space in the center, which is, of course, your pupil. Let's compare these two muscle sets side by side. The circular muscles wrap around the pupil in rings, kind of like a bullseye. Meanwhile, the radial muscles radiate outward, literally like the spokes on a bicycle wheel. The absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that these muscles work antagonistically. In biology, antagonistic just means they're opponents. When one contracts, the other one simply has to relax. They're in this constant tug of war, pulling against each other to precisely adjust the scale and diameter of your pupil. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, bright light reflex action. Let's track how this works step by step. Step 1, boom, a sudden increase in light intensity. This stimulus immediately triggers Step 2, where the circular muscles of your iris forcefully contract. And since they form a ring, contracting means they squeeze tightly inward. This leads directly to Step 3. The pupil constricts, shrinking way down to a tiny little dot. Basically, as the light intensity goes up, the pupil dimension goes down. So why does this matter? Well, think about the retina located at the very back of your eye. It is absolutely packed with highly sensitive photoreceptors. A massive flood of bright sunlight could literally fry them. So by rapidly constricting the pupil and physically reducing the flow of light entering the eye, this mechanism acts as a shield to prevent permanent retinal damage. Pretty amazing, right? All right, Section 3, dim light reflex action. Tracking this sequence, imagine stepping back indoors. Step 1 is a sudden decrease in light intensity. This time, the radial muscles take charge. Remember those bicycle spokes? They contract, pulling forcefully outward. And because they're antagonistic, those circular muscles simultaneously relax. This outward physical force triggers Step 3. The pupil dilates, widening dramatically. And this brilliantly illustrates our second objective, optimization. By pulling the pupil wide open, your eye is trying to capture whatever faint, tiny photons of light are available in that dark space. It maximizes the light flow hitting the lens, which massively enhances your visibility. It's the reason you can eventually navigate a low-light room without, stubbing your toe on the furniture. Section 4, common biology misconceptions. Okay, error number 1 to avoid on your exams, thinking that the pupil itself contracts or dilates. Remember, the pupil is literally just empty space. It's a hole. A hole cannot contract. It's the iris muscles doing all the pulling and squeezing. Error number 2, assuming this whole process is under voluntary control. You cannot consciously choose to shrink your pupils. It is a 100% automatic involuntary reflex. Almost done. Section 5, final review and exam tips. This is exactly how you're going to want to organize these core variables in your head. First condition, bright light. The active muscle, circular contracts. The action, constricts. Now flip it. Condition, dim light. Active muscle, radial contracts. Action, dilates. Understanding this antagonistic relationship and matching the correct muscle to the correct lighting condition is absolutely the key to acing this topic. Let's run a quick-fire recap to make sure every single component is locked in. 1. The pupil reflex is an involuntary response controlling light entry. 2. In bright light, circular muscles contract, causing constriction. 3. In dim light, radial muscles contract, causing dilation. And 4. This whole beautiful automatic system exists to protect your retina and optimize your vision. Now, here's a massive tip to grab maximum marks. When you're sitting in your exam and you get a question on this, don't just write a giant paragraph. Clearly explain the distinct roles of both the circular and radial muscles and actually illustrate the reflex arc. Practice drawing out the exact visual flowcharts we used in this explainer, map the pathway from the initial light stimulus all the way to the pupil's mechanical response. Drawing it out proves to the examiner that you truly understand the underlying invisible process. So we've just broken down one of the most elegant automatic systems in the entire human body. Now I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. The next time you step out of a dark room into the glaring sun and you feel that sudden shift in your vision, take a second. Can you actively visualize the biological flowchart happening in real time inside your own iris? Challenge yourself to map the pathway from stimulus to response right there in the moment. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep observing the amazing science happening right inside of you.